Hey guys, Joey from VMP here. If you ever called in looking for sales or technical support, probably spoke with me or one of my associates. Today I'm here with Chucky. We're gonna do something a little different. Usually we pick what we want to do, but this time we asked you guys what you guys wanted to see, and we got a lot of different answers, but we're gonna consult with our focus group. All right, well, you guessed it, it's staying NA, but not for much longer. We're gonna head inside and we're gonna go order a nitrous kit. All right guys, we just came inside. We're gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump on Nitrous Express's website. I've got it pre-pulled up for us here. We're getting ready to order Chucky's nitrous kit. The first thing that I get when I take these technical phone calls, people asking, what do I need for nitrous kits? What do I need to keep my engine safe? What am I gonna do from keeping it blowing up? Don't worry about that, I'm gonna cover all that right now. We went ahead and chose a plate kit for Chucky. It's going to be the easiest of all the installations. It's basically just a throttle body spacer that puts fuel and nitrous into the motor, into the combustion chamber. I've got one pulled up right here. There's a couple options for different size bottles and whatnot, but this is the basics of it, and I'll give you a little bit more details as to what we need next. As you can see here, the bottle brackets are covering the bottle there, so it's included in the kit. We have our nitrous and fuel solenoids there that are on top of our plate kit. Again, it looks just like a throttle body spacer basically, and you got a couple of fuel lines to take the nitrous out, braided steel lines. You have the jets here. Some people call them pills, some people call them jets. Nitrous Express calls them jets. Right here we have a fuel line adapter, so that it's going to make it basically just a bolt-on to use on your stock fuel rails and stock fuel lines, and then all the miscellaneous hardware and stuff that it comes with. One thing that is very important when it comes to nitrous is making sure that you regulate your pressure of the bottle and how much nitrous is in it. We want to keep a full bottle whenever possible, and we want to make sure that we keep it at a constant pressure and try and keep it as constant through the entire duration of the pull. We should be aiming for something from 900 to 1100, somewhere in that ballpark. This is a bottle heater. This is going to wrap around the bottle in between the bottle brackets, and it'll be remotely controlled from your center console or wherever you decide to put the switch. And it, as the name suggests, heats the bottle up, and it'll give you the pressure that you need to maintain. This is probably the biggest part of running a nitrous kit, is making sure that you're using it at the appropriate times. It's not like Fast and Furious. You don't just grab a button whenever you want. There are certain parameters that have to be met. This box right here covers both of the parameters, the two most important parameters that you need to cover. Wide open throttle switch and a window switch. The wide open throttle switch, as you can imagine, will only spray when you're wide open throttle, but it also needs a second parameter to be met, and that second parameter is the RPM window switch. So you don't want to spray anything before 3000 RPM, and then you can spray it for as long as you need, and that'll, how long you go to, whether it's 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, etc., will be based on what intake manifold you have. So I won't go too far into depth with that right now. But yeah, once those two things are met, then it sends a signal to the nitrous solenoid and the fuel solenoid, and it's going to go ahead and spray back through that plate kit that we have, and then into the combustion chamber, and then all the horsepower comes out. One reason that you do want to have all this stuff is because if you don't have the proper safety parameters in check, you're going to wind up with a nitrous backfire. Insert nitrous backfire clip. All right, last couple things that we need to grab are from the VMPPerformance website. You're going to need to get spark plugs that are 1 to 2 steps colder depending on how much nitrous you're spraying. On Chucky, we're going to throw a 150 kit on it, and so it's going to add approximately 150 horsepower. For a situation like this, we're going to go 2 steps colder, but if you're on like a 50 kit, a 75, or maybe even 100, you could probably get away with a 1 step colder plug. One thing to keep in mind is that you're going to want to put a voltage booster in the car, or if you have like an aftermarket fuel system or something like that, then you can probably get away without it. The reason that we need this voltage booster is because you're going to add more stress on the pump, and you want it to be able to keep up, because if you wind up having a lean spike, you're going to have more chance of detonation and hurting the motor, which is what we all don't want. And then the very last thing that you're going to need, but probably the most important depending on the size of the kit, is your tune. you can go to the website. I've got Chucky's tune pulled up here. It's an 11 to 14 car for force induction. You have a picture of one of our Gen 2Rs here, but don't worry about it. This will also cover a nitrous kit or a turbo kit or anything like that. So it's all force induction, and just a couple of things that you're gonna wanna go through and fill out before you get your tune. And then after you place this order, it'll take anywhere from 3 to 10 business days to go ahead and get that tune for you. So if you noticed while we were panning through some of this stuff, we were on the Nitrous Express website. VMPPerformance is an authorized dealer for Nitrous Express. Not only can we get you any Nitrous Express product, but we can also do bottle refills here. Call me and talk to me or any of my associates there at sales and support, and we can get you set up with whatever you want, whether you got a Mustang, a Camaro, a Challenger, whatever you got. Even if it's a motorcycle, we can get you set up with a Nitrous Express kit. And if you're local, come on down and we'll refill the bottle for you too. All right, just submitted the order. It's gonna take a couple days for it to get here. In the meantime, let's go put Chucky on a diet. All right, so we just weighed the car on the 4-way scales that we have here, the wireless intercom scales, and it weighed 3508. We're gonna get ready and take some weight out of the car. We're gonna start with the basics first, rear and passenger seat. Let's see how much we can remove. Chucky has 2 of these plastic panels that we're gonna have to remove before we can get to the bolts to take the front seat out. They can be quite a pain. You just gotta kind of wiggle them. All right, and if you can see there, oh, this one doesn't have one actually. There's usually a clip there. See if the other one's still there. All right, so yep, you can see the clip there. It basically just slides out, but it does take quite a bit of force, so you're gonna have to muscle with it. You're probably gonna fight with it, but eventually you'll get it, and then you'll have access to these sweet bolts. Rip these out, and keep in mind these are just the nuts. They're studs, so only the nut's gonna come out. And then from there you'll be able to see that Chucky's about ready to move. Now we're gonna flip the seat back and get ahead and get them moving backwards so we can access these front ones. Now, I will note that these ones are bolts and they're not just the nuts. And another note that I'll make on this is that this one right here in the front, closest to the center console, is pretty hard to get to. Because it is underneath the carpet, so make sure that you break it free with the ratchet first before you go ahead and just wrench on it in case you strip the nut off. And then that should be just about it. I'm gonna go ahead and fold it up, make it easier for me. Now I've got just about everything I need. It's got 2 plugs here. Yellow one comes out, you just push it and separate it. Same thing with this one, push and separate. And we're ready to bring these heavy leather seats out of here. Eject those seats, cut! Be careful not to scratch the car or your panels or anything like that. We'll go ahead and set this one off to the side and move on to the back seats. My favorite part of taking seats out of a car that you haven't owned since day one is when you find a bunch of money in it. So Chucky just graced me with about 47 cents that I'm gonna go ahead and put in the center console. So to take these back seats out, there's 2 clips, one on each side. They're just off center of these. You're gonna reach in and you're gonna feel it. It's gonna be an obvious plastic clip. When you feel it, you're just gonna push back towards the back of the car and it's just gonna unhinge it. All right, this one's out. Now I'm gonna go for this one. All right, and this one's out. And it just comes right out. No clips, nothing else like that. No wiring harnesses to come out. You may have to fish the seatbelt through, but that's about it. It should be pretty easy to get to come out. This part's pretty easy. Again, this one should be a 13 millimeter, I believe, so let me see. Yep, that's it. All right, there's 3 of them there, obviously, one left, one right, and one middle. If you come and look over here, just behind where the seatbelts are sitting, there's gonna be these little pull straps that you can grab. From there, you can pull them, and then it'll come out. Same thing over here. There you go. And we'll take the backs out of the rear seats. All right, as you just saw, we took about 92 pounds out of the car. That is a lot of weight. It took us no more than 5 minutes, but it's not quite enough. Chucky's got to lose some more weight, and we're going to keep moving forward. We're going to keep taking some stuff out here. We're moving on to some of the trim plastic in the back. Pretty straightforward. You can just use your fingers, so it's going to take a little bit longer. And it's not going to take out a ton of weight, but it's something that'll save every 5 to 10 pounds is worth it. And it'll come right out. All right, we're going to take the trim out of the sides here. There's one bolt here, and it's at 13 millimeters, so I'm going to go ahead and yank that out. And there's a plastic push pin here. All you got to do is slide your fingers behind it and pull back. And then this piece will come right out. Now, we don't recommend taking the mirrors off before you get to the track, so this is going to be one of the things that you do when you get to the track. It's pretty easy, you don't need a lot of tools. This is going to come off by hand, and you need an 11 millimeter socket and a ratchet, and we'll go ahead and rip these mirrors off. So just give it a good shake, come right out, and that's all we do is just take 1, 2, 3, and the power clip. All right, as you just saw, we've lost over 100 pounds by taking out some trim pieces. In the name of keeping it a street car, I think that's pretty good. I think we're about done here.
I think Joey did a pretty good job finding weight in the car, but I'm gonna see what I can find in this thing. All right, so first step is we're gonna remove the front and rear bumper supports because I think there's a good bit of weight in those. So we're gonna start by taking the tail lights out and then get the bumpers off and then go from there. There's like a pound worth of rocks. Remember that Chucky gets trailered to the track, even though it is still technically a street car. So if you live in a pollution-controlled state, or any state, you should probably not remove this. Well, it's a lot easier with a bumper on it. Make it cool. So after a sledgehammer and a chisel, front and rear core supports and a catback removal, we're down a little over 70 pounds total from the last segment. And so we're excited to get this back to the track. In the meantime, we have a Nitrous Express kit on the way, and so that should make it a whole lot more interesting. So while we're waiting for that to get here, make sure you like, share, and subscribe.